Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual open house, specifically the Lamont School of Music session. My name is Craig Dion. I am the Northeast Regional Director for the Office of Admission. I'm based in New Hampshire and work with the students primarily from New England, New York, Pennsylvania, as well as Kentucky and Tennessee. A few housekeeping notes before we get started. The chat feature will be turned off. However, you will be able to answer questions or ask questions in the Q&A feature. So you'll see the Q&A button on the bottom of your screen likely. Feel free to put any questions in there that you might have. At this point in time, I want to bring on Andrew Ferdig, who is an enrollment specialist with the Lamont School of Music.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're so excited to speak about Lamont with you all. So I'm just going to start by sharing my screen. We have a short presentation for you all, and then we'll dive into some questions at the end. All right, this is just a brief outline of our meeting. So we have a brief intro video that I'm going to share with you. It's an introduction by our director, Keith Ward. And then we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty about music. So why our students are choosing music, why is it a area of study that brings interest into their lives and that they want to pursue, some career paths, more fun facts about the Lamont School of Music, our various degree programs that we offer at Lamont, and then opportunities for non-majors. I know some of you may be interested in pursuing music outside of a different degree that you're already pursuing at DU. We'll talk about our ensembles and then how you can get involved through either auditioning or through viewing one of our many performances throughout the year. All right, so I am Andrew Ferdig. I'm the enrollment specialist. I'm also a graduate of the Lamont School of Music. I pursued my Bachelor of Music Performance in percussion way back when at Lamont, so I know the program very well. And then our Director of Admission is Stephen Campbell, and the two of us really create the team that helps all of our music applicants through the application process. Hannah Flood is also joining us tonight. She's a flute major at Lamont, and we're so excited to have her to answer some of your questions for a current student. All right.
The University of Denver Lamont School of Music is a premier music school of the Rocky Mountain West. We limit enrollment to 300 students, small enough to provide smaller classes and a lot of individualized attention.
Lamont students just tend to know everybody who's in here because we are a smaller school. So I thought that would be nicer for me instead of going to like a bigger program where it'd be harder to get opportunities to play.
What was really important to me in deciding to come here was building a strong community with a lot of different connections to the music world.
They personally pay attention to each student. I feel you have conversations with them and you don't feel like you're just like lost in the crowd.
You have like this personalized attention into your preparation and the opportunities they give you.
We're still big enough to have a symphony orchestra, opera, wind ensemble, jazz orchestra, and many other multi-genre ensembles that include steel drum, bluegrass, and music from India.
I get to play on all kinds of people's recitals, which ends up being a lot.
There's weekly performance classes that are extremely helpful.
I think with the amount of performance opportunities, I'm seeing what the real world looks like on both sides, or at least getting a glimpse about what it could look like.
There's certainly no shortage of opportunities for having pieces performed here at Lamont.
We focus on the skills and experiences essential for leading a purposeful life as a musician in the 21st century.
Since I've been here, I've been able to form a band so that we can start performing my songs because I write a lot of songs.
Lamont is really supportive in terms of bringing people from outside of the school.
There is a world out there and I need to, make sure that I use my skills and develop the best abilities that I can while I'm here so I can do great things out there.
We rehearse and perform in the Robert and Judy Newman Center for the Performing Arts.
The facilities are amazing.
They're the best facilities I've ever been into in a college setting.
The campus is beautiful.
There's just the right amount of practice rooms.
Our students are part of the University of Denver, a world-class private research university with over 100 top-level programs and robust study abroad opportunities.
You're not just limited to music here. I'm able to take classes in basically anything I want.
There's always someone new to meet, always a new project going on that I've never heard of before. But I also encounter people that I know in any space that I enter.
We're a short light rail ride away from the thriving art scene of downtown Denver, one of the fastest growing cities in the United States.
There's a lot of outdoor things to do, but there's also a lot of indoor things to do. Something to do in every season.
It's usually sunny almost every single day.
It's pretty amazing that you can be in the foothills at least in 30 minutes. I feel like it really helps my mental health.
In the mountains, right there, so beautiful.
I say you should come to Lamont just because we are very tight knit. We are a very, I guess, family-based community.
I felt so welcomed and supported.
Lamont is going to give you the opportunity to really be heard as a musician.
I don't want to be anywhere else. The people I've met here make this experience all the while worth it.
I invite you to come visit us and see for yourself what makes the Lamont School of Music so special.
Right. Let's see. All right, so let's dive into why music. So I'm assuming that if you're here joining us tonight, you can answer this question for yourself, why music is so important in your life and why you're choosing to look into pursuing it at DU while you're here. For me, that was definitely a question that I needed to ask myself when I was in high school. What are the reasons that I want to continue to study music? Well, one of them was I simply couldn't live without music in my life. That is definitely something that resounds within our student body. But then also music training provides you with lots of different skills that really affect your life for the better going forward. So all of our students are expected to sit in a practice room and decide which music they need to rehearse and practice on their own, what skills they need to work on to increase their own abilities. So it's really self-driven, and it's including a lot of lessons in discipline and patience and self-reflection. But also we have this amazing opportunity to perform and to create music with other humans sitting right next to us. So we're developing these skills of social and emotional intelligence, the ability to meet others where they are and to create art together. They're really incredible opportunities and skills that you develop as a musician within music school. So you all know performing is one of the most common career paths within music. So we have graduates from Lamont who perform in symphony orchestras across the nation and throughout the world. We have students who are performing in the Metropolitan Opera and who are performing in the military bands and the top military bands throughout the United States. And we also have students who are playing very long tours on cruises. So there's lots of different performance opportunities within music, obviously. But then also, so who creates all of the compositions that these people are performing? Who writes the music for the movie soundtracks that we also enjoy? We have composition programs at Lamont that help our students develop those skills to pursue those careers. We also have conducting programs. These are students who are usually master's students, and they pursue a conducting degree at Lamont. And then also the recording arts. So our recording and production program develops students' abilities to create a career in very many different music-based industries. So some of them do app design. What are the sounds that are made by your app as you're clicking through it? These students learn those. They also work on design for movie soundtracks and the auditory experience of the viewer as you're watching a movie. And of course, they work in the recording studio. So students are developing the skills to be able to record other musicians as they play. And then music scholarship. So we have various students who have gone on to have a musicology degree. So they're studying the history of music and its past, present, and then also future, and making predictions as to where music will be going. Ethnomusicology studies the musics of various cultures. As we mentioned in the video, we have a North Indian classical ensemble that explores Hindustani music. And then music theory, so the theoretical aspect behind all the compositions and how it works and functions within each other. And then arts administration, so all of the people who make music possible behind the scenes, whether that be grant writers, people who work in marketing for musical organizations, the list goes on. All right, so as you saw in our video, we have a beautiful concert hall. This is a picture of one of our opera performances, and we're so lucky to be in the Newman Center for Performing Arts. It is really one of the best facilities in the nation as far as music schools go, and our students are so lucky to be able to perform in it regularly. We have over 300 performances every year in the Newman Center, which includes 4 performance spaces, the large concert hall that you see on your screen now, the recital hall, and then 2 other smaller spaces. We have 30 practice rooms, and it's situated that way so that all of our 300 students have enough practice space. It's the perfect amount of rooms. And you'll actually see the inside of one when we have our current student Hana later on. We have a 6-to-1 student to faculty ratio, which is incredibly important. Our school is really designed to be similar to a conservatory style program. So in a conservatory, as opposed to a music school that is in relation to a university, you get a lot of one-on-one time with your faculty. Lamont caps our students at 300 in order to make sure that our students are getting lots and lots of one-on-one time, and then a lot of performance opportunities. So the smaller the student body, the more performances you'll have in a year because someone else isn't filling that part. And that's something that we really designed Lamont to center around. And of course, we have the excellent benefit of being tied to the University of Denver. And it creates opportunities for our students that would not be possible if we were only a conservatory and only a school of music. So we're so grateful to be part of DU to give our students those opportunities. As far as programs offered at Lamont, we have a Bachelor of Arts in Music. These are for students who often get another degree on campus, so it works really well with other degree curriculums. We have a Bachelor of Music and Performance, which is designed for students who are looking for a really in-depth musical education that prepares them for a career in performance. Bachelor of Music in Recording and Production are the students who I mentioned who are working in the technical aspects on the computer. So they do a lot of recording within studios. They do a lot of sound design for various movies, for apps, the list goes on. So they focus on that. Bachelor of Music and Composition is actually our only program that doesn't require an audition. So these composition students perform in ensembles along with the other students, but their application process is a little different because it's all centered on composition and creation through music. And then the Bachelor of Music in Jazz Studies at Lamont. Jazz encompasses a very wide genre with lots of different subgenres within it. So these students are performing bluegrass. These students are performing traditional jazz, bop, bebop. They're doing, the list goes on. Commercial music, so they often join bands and do pop music. So there's a lot of opportunity within the Jazz Studies and Commercial Music department. And then we have a minor in music, which I'll talk about a little later, as well as graduate degrees. All right, so within our various degree programs, there are different musical areas of study, and I'm sure that some of you are looking for yours now, but the ones I like to point out are the carillon. Lamont actually and DU have a beautiful carillon on campus, and it's a bell tower that's played a lot like a piano. So you can major in carillon performance at Lamont. We're one of 3 programs in the country that offer it. And then also we have music theory and musicology. So the opportunity to study the academic side of music is a great opportunity for our students at Lamont. As far as opportunities for non-majors, at the very base level, you can sign up for lessons for a 2-credit course. They're 30 minutes each, and they're 30 minutes every week, and they're taught by graduate teaching assistants. And these satisfy some of your elective credits. If you have an instrument that you want to learn how to play, we would be happy to set you up with lessons at Lamont. One step up, we have academic courses that satisfy the AI Society credits. These are part of the common curriculum, and they're often history courses, but there are lots of different options within Lamont for how you can satisfy those. These are required by our in the curriculum for our music students, but then also for all majors at DU. Some of them include global pop. We had one on tabla playing from Northern India. We had the hearing the movies, which was based on this film scores. So lots of different options for studying within your curriculum. And then we have a minor in music, which takes about 2 years to complete. It's 23 credits. It's open for all DU students. And this is often a very good opportunity for students to continue doing music, even if they're studying a different major within DU. And then all the way at the top level, we have music as a secondary major. So many of our students have another major. These students are a Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Arts in Music degree program, because it has a little more flexibility to be able to allow for other curriculum. And it's 70 credits long. So usually students have no problem with adding another degree and have the BA in music and finish within 4 years, which is a really great opportunity. And then we have lots of ensembles for you to participate in. We have 4 choirs on campus, including the Spirituals Project Gospel Choir. We have the Opera Theater. If singing is not for you like it is for me, then we have the Symphony Orchestra and Wind Ensemble. We have chamber ensembles in every major area, including strings for quartets and then winds for quintets. And we have the percussion ensemble. So if you play percussion, we'd love to have you play in the percussion ensemble. And the list goes on. As I mentioned, the jazz ensembles incorporate many, many different genres. So within the small groups, there are 4 or 5 different genres offered each quarter, and that rotates through. And then we have world music ensembles. So the steel drum ensemble is a total party, and it happens twice a week. And performances about 3 times per quarter. We have a bluegrass ensemble, which is open to all DU students, and we would love to have you. If you play bluegrass now, we'd love to have you perform with that ensemble. All right, so auditioning. If you'd like to add a music major or minor, you do have to audition. Our audition repertoire per instrument or area of study is located on our website at du.edu/Lamont. And I would be happy to help answer your questions. So if you send me an email, I'll have my contact information at the end of the presentation. I'd be happy to help you set up an audition. All of our ensembles are also auditioned. Part of the reason why we create auditions for the ensembles is so that our music students have the opportunity to practice auditioning every quarter. So that's baked within the curriculum because it's so important for us to practice the auditions. But this also means that you have the opportunity to practice an audition if you want to join an ensemble. It's not meant to bar people from participating. It's mainly meant to have that practice opportunity. So if you have questions about joining an ensemble, I'd be happy to tell you about the audition for that ensemble. All right, and then how do you connect with Lamont other than attending classes and ensembles? So we have 300 different concerts throughout the year, and we'd love to have you attend one of our concerts. We have so many different varieties of presentations and performances that we would love for you to join. We also have a YouTube channel that has past performances, interviews. We have current student diaries that give more information about our programs. And then one-on-one meetings. So the admission staff, including myself and Stephen, are always happy to meet with you and discuss Lamont and the opportunities there. But then also our faculty are all happy to sit with someone who is a potential student. You can get in touch with us at musicadmission.du.edu, or you can call our office below. And I think that gets to our presentation with Hannah. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
And Andrew, before you have Hannah come on, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A.
Great.
One of the questions specifically is if a student starts as a performance major but wants to switch to jazz studies, how easy is that?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for mobility within Lamont because the academic courses are often the similar curriculum at the very beginning. So if you decide that you want to audition in one area when you apply and then you change your mind and you want to go to a different area within Lamont, it's pretty easy for us to be able to make that change. You will need to audition in that new area with the faculty there, so that's something to keep in mind, but we can work with you through that process. And then we have a full-time staff academic advisor at Lamont. So Shantisha will be there to help you make sure that you have all your ducks in a row when it comes to graduating on time after that switch.
Another question, you had talked about lessons for non-music majors. Is there an additional cost or fee for that?
No. So at DU, as long as it's within your elective credits, you don't have to pay anything extra. It counts as part of your curriculum for your major at DU.
And then another question, musical theater. What are the opportunities there?
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I didn't mention a musical theater program specifically at Lamont. We do performances in our building with the theater program at DU, which is also part of the arts, humanities, and social sciences. Last year, for example, they produced Rent with live professional musicians in the pit, and the students were performing. It was phenomenal. We don't specifically have a musical theater program at Lamont because our students are primarily geared towards the operatic route and also pop music. However, that's definitely opportunity at DU. It's just not a curriculum that we offer.
And another question just popped in. You may or may not know the answer to this, but how many guitar majors do you have in the music program? And could this be jazz studies and or performance?
Yes. Yeah. So currently we have about 15, just under 15 jazz guitar students. We also have a classical guitar studio that's about 20 students right now. So there's that faction there. And you can absolutely major in guitar performance within jazz studies. Absolutely.
Okay. Why don't we bring Hannah out and get her perspective as a current student?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Hannah, from the practice rooms at Lamont. It's exciting.
Of course, there's a little
Yeah.
tour.
So the first question I have for you is, what is your favorite part about being at Lamont? And if you can describe the community aspect of Lamont, that would be great.
Yeah, I would actually say one of my favorite things about Lamont are the facilities. I applied to so many places for my undergrad and even grad, and Lamont's facilities are the best by far. And you can reserve the spaces and use them as you please for recording, for rehearsals, whatever you'd like. And the building hours are also really flexible. As for the community, since we're so small, you really do get to know all the people around you here. And I really appreciate that because I did do a study abroad program, and those classes had 200 people, but in this school I've never had a class of more than 15. So you really get to know all the people around you, and your professors get to know you as well.
Yeah, great. So you mentioned study abroad. I had to go there next now. So tell us about your study abroad experience. Tell us if it was hard for a music major to go abroad at DU, and then tell us about your experience post-return.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard for me to go abroad. I chose a program that DU is affiliated with. You could choose a program that DU is not affiliated with, and then find a lessons teacher through there. But I decided to go with University of Glasgow, so I went to Scotland for a quarter, and they make it really accessible for music majors because once you go there, you can actually find a lesson teacher through. Maybe there's a conservatoire over there, or there's just a local orchestra and you can take lessons with one of their players. and DU actually pays for those lessons. So you don't have to pay anything extra on top of that. And the tuition that you pay during the school year is actually what you pay when you go abroad as well. So there's no extra cost to studying abroad. So I really appreciated that. That was one of the big reasons why I chose this school, because it's one of the best when it comes to study abroad, and they really encourage it. And they have a specific office on campus that'll help you through that process. I really enjoyed it over there just because it gives you another perspective on how they teach music. I'm actually planning to go do my graduate studies over there in Scotland now. So it really does open up a bunch of opportunities for your future. And coming back, I guess it was really interesting because I think there were 4 or 5 of us that went abroad at the same time from the music school. And coming back, we actually were able to encourage a lot more people to study abroad the next year. And I've only ever heard great things about studying abroad. And it also makes you appreciate Lamont's opportunities when it comes to performances, and how it's more organized when it's run by faculty. I know the program I went to was all student run. So you really get to see both sides of how music school could be run.
Yeah, thanks. That's I love that you mentioned that Lamont makes it easy for you to go abroad. There are so many music schools across the country that actually discourage students from going abroad because those students then aren't playing in our ensembles, which can pose a problem as a music school. But the really awesome part about Lamont is the fact that we do encourage our students to go. Please go make music in the world stage and experience music from a culture that's different than your own, because it's so important. And then you get to bring those experiences back to our community, which only strengthens the bond between students and between our audiences while we're here. Yeah, thank you. So Hannah, what does your weekly schedule look like as a Lamont student?
Yeah, right now it's opened up a lot more since I'm in my last year. But freshman, sophomore year, it was, I think, every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I had music theory and aural skills in the morning. I know they switched it to the afternoons, so incoming freshmen get a little more lucky. I had my 8 a.m.s. They don't do that anymore. And then you have your ensembles. So I had our orchestra, so that's 2 to 5 on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Fridays. Usually I have studio class and my lesson. So you get opportunities to perform throughout the week.
Yeah, great, thanks. So it looks like we're rounding out on our time together. So why don't we finish with some questions if we have any more? And
Yeah, there are a
then
couple of additional questions, pretty specific questions.
Yeah, great.
One is about the opera curriculum and how rigorous it might be.
Yeah, this is a good question. So let's start with the basics. The curriculum for all music students is very similar academically. So everyone takes music theory, aural skills, and the common curriculum. So that's something to keep in mind. On top of that, the opera program has a performance class, much like many of the other areas. But then they also have movement. So they have an entire course based on how you produce sound from your body while moving. They have a diction course that they have to fulfill as part of their curriculum. So how do you sing in French? French is very hard for me to pronounce, and these people have to be able to sing in it. So we have a class dedicated specifically to pronouncing other languages as you're singing. And then they also have the ensemble credit. So this is those students participate in the choirs as part of their ensemble credits, and then also they have opera as an ensemble. So they have a fully staged opera program every year, a concert that we perform with the Lamont Symphony Orchestra and the pit accompanying the vocal program. And that is a requirement for all the opera students. And the various opportunities within that range from being a chorus member all the way through a role within the actual opera. So yeah, that's kind of a snapshot on that program.
And another question, Andrew, you might not be able to answer this, but other than the Glasgow program, are you familiar with other DU affiliated programs specifically for music?
Yeah, so we have a couple of really close ties actually. So I actually studied at one of them when I was an undergrad at DU at Lamont. The conservatory in Milan is another close tie with Lamont and DU. So that's an option if you want to study in Italy. We have another one that we have a really close tie with in Denmark. So that's also another option. We have lots of students that study at the Danish Conservatory there. And then we also have a relationship in Sweden. So those are the 5 primary music schools that we often have relationships with between Lamont students and the global stage. But if there's an area of the world that you want to study in, specifically Ghana is another one, we can make that happen. Absolutely.
Great. We are out of time. I
Yeah.
want to thank both Andrew and Hannah for being here. And thanks to our visitors for all the questions. And as you know, you can reach out to Lamont if you have any additional questions or concerns.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.